Welcome along to After the Flag. After the final checkered flag of 2024, we have a 2024 MotoGP World Champion. His name is Jorge Martin. After a tense finale where Pecco Bagnaia held up his end of the bargain and won the Grand Prix of Barcelona, third place for Jorge Martin secured him a lifelong dream. He is the MotoGP World Champion. Louis Suddaby, and for the final time, Simon Crafar, ready to talk you through all of the big discussion points from that Barcelona Grand Prix. It wasn't a classic if you were after Moto3 style racing, but boy, was it tense as Pecco Bagnaia did what he had to do and won the race, asking the question of Jorge Martin, can you hold it together? Jorge Martin held it together. What a rider, what a world champion. Just first of all, give us your overall summary of Jorge Martin and what a world champion he is.
Okay, overall summary of Jorge Martin. I love the story. I'm sure you've touched on it in commentary over the weekend, how he started. It was Red Bull rookies, you know, it was kind of the end of the road. He was going to go get taken on like as a Red Bull rookie, or it was the end financially for them. And he's made it all the way through to being a champion. It's absolutely fantastic. He's a raw talent. He's like super hungry and drive. Maybe that is part of the background as well. I have to add, I'm super proud of our sport, because I know this is getting off track from Jorge Martin, who I think everyone had in their mind, please don't lose the front, Jorge, and hand it to Pecco. You know what I mean? That's something terrible like that. It couldn't help but think things like that when that was happening. But I'm proud of our sport, because I was on a plane in 1996 with some high-level car drivers and their technicians, and they spoke to me about our sport. They were very interested in it. And I explained I'm from New Zealand and I ride for a factory team, and my Aussie teammate does as well, that we're on the plane with. And they're like, who backs you? Who pays for it? And I'm like, no, we're taken on and paid as raw talent like this man, meaning on merit, not we didn't pay for our ride. And this rider, Jorge Martin, is a perfect example why I'm still proud of our sport, although it's got more difficult. He's come through, this young man has come through from Red Bull rookies purely on merit, not buying his ride, and made it all the way to the top, the pinnacle of our sport.
Yeah, of course, he started his Grand Prix career, of course, with the Mahindra-backed Aspar team, who, of course, got such an incredible record of promoting young talent into MotoGP. Of course, he had a Moto2 time with Red Bull KTM, where he was arguably unlucky not to win a world championship in that class. He got COVID, of course, partway through that 2020 season when he was in a running for the championship. And just purely looking in his MotoGP journey, it's been a bit of an up-and-down journey. Of course, he had that incredible start to his rookie season when he got a pole position in Qatar, and it's just his second Grand Prix. We always knew from his Moto3 days what an incredible qualifier he was. But some terrible injuries that he picked up in that early part of his career. That crash in Portimao, which at one point Jorge Martin thought might take his career. He's bounced back from that. He's often been the rider that's been passed up for factory rides at Ducati. Of course, Enea Bastianini was preferred to him for 2023. Marc Marquez preferred to him for next year. He's not always been the most fashionable rider from a sport point of view, from a Ducati point of view, you could argue. But on talent and just bloody-mindedness and hard work, he's managed to achieve the summit of MotoGP. He's done it all on his own back.
Yeah, I first saw him ride a big bike at Almeria Circuit, helped him, and Cartagena. And I remember putting on social media that this kid is just like first days on 1,000, you know, stock bike, how fast he was, you know. And he just took to the big bike, and not everybody does. I mean, Fabio did, you know, just took to it. He was instantly fast. Like you said, Qatar, he's on pole position. And it happened, it doesn't happen much anymore, but he had the same hard apprenticeship on the big bike as it used to be on a 500 always. A rider would get a bit confident, a new rider, and you're waiting for it. Wham! And he gets hurt, and he has to fight back from that. It happened to Jorge, 8 bones in Portimao. It was overconfidence in the beginning, you know. Basically, you have to make the mistakes to know how to avoid them, you know, where they happen. And he bounced back better, came back and won again. It must have felt amazing to win after recovering from that. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, there's no one that can say he doesn't deserve it. You know, like both of those riders did. You know, that's the point, and it had to be one of them. I'm super happy for Jorge.
Last season, of course, Pecco Bagnaia won the World Championship in a last-round showdown with Jorge Martin, who left Valencia in tears after missing out on the World Championship. We've reflected on it in commentary over the weekend, as Matt Bird has pointed out, but Jorge didn't feel ultimately that he was ready to win the World Championship last season. The sheer pressure and scale of what he was trying to achieve almost overwhelmed him last year. He got quite tense, he got quite nervous, he wasn't sleeping at all through the flyways last season. Of course, had that crash in Indonesia when he took the lead of the World Championship and handed the initiative back to Pecco Bagnaia. What has been the clearest step? What has been the biggest improvement you feel that Jorge Martin has made this season to take him from runner-up to champion?
Well, the crazy thing is, it is the thing that's won it is him learning how to accept seconds. Pecco's pointed it out. He's got a bunch of seconds, more than Pecco. And I believe he learned that from last year. You know, just last year he was just going on pure speed and the talent that he has, and he gets out there but he made mistakes. Where this year, the big difference is not that he's got faster, he's learnt from his mistakes and learnt how to settle. You know, like as in if he needs to get second, rather than push it over the limit and crash, do it, you know. Both of them have pushed over the limit and crashed, but I think that has been the big difference, really. Crazy thing is, he's slowed down to win the World Championship. Look, if he hadn't had it hanging over him, some of those seconds and thirds would have been wins, because he would have gone for it, but he learnt how to manage it and get the championship over the line.
Yeah, 3 Sunday wins this year for Jorge Martin: Portimao, Le Mans and Indonesia. And my memory goes back to Le Mans when he took the victory there, and he mentioned the word maturity a lot. Of course, there was a lot of talk around this time, of course, about who was going to go into the factory Ducati team for next season alongside Pecco Bagnaia, where there was always talk whether it was going to be Marc or whether it was going to be Jorge. In the end, they went with Marc. But Jorge Martin spoke of the maturity that he's shown this season. That's something that has been clearly a step as we've gone into 2024. Not only the maturity to, as you say, win races, but as you say, to accept what the result is on offer, maximise his points in any given weekend. Very few mistakes this season from Jorge Martin. And in the end, it's the quantity of mistakes that have probably swung it his way.
Yeah, you've said it, really. I don't know how to add more, other than it's going to be hard for him. I mean, we got to enjoy this first, and I hope he does. But it's going to be hard for him to get on not the best bike next year, and it'll be really interesting. Especially, like from my point of view, we're really going to see what the Aprilia can do, because I doubt whether he's going to be fighting for a world championship. It kind of depends what Aprilia do for next year. But we're really going to see how fast that Aprilia can go, because he's going to wring its neck, you know, and it's going to be a benchmark for where the Aprilia truly is, because as good as the Aprilia current riders are, it's more up and down, and you're not quite sure where Jorge, he just comes out every weekend and just goes for it.
There's clearly an awful lot of respect between Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia. Bagnaia congratulated Jorge, of course, as soon as he arrived into Parc Ferme after his victory. I was noticing when Jorge was having his sort of champions podium on his own that Pecco Bagnaia stood off to the side of the podium and actually waited and watched the celebrations and made sure that he was there to take in the moment. Of course, that will all light a fire under Pecco Bagnaia for next season, but there's a long association between the two of those. Of course, they came into the Grand Prix paddock together. They were Aspar teammates back in Moto3. Very, very close. They fought hard on track, but there's been an awful lot of fair play and respect between the two from start to finish.
Yes, well said. Louis, I said it in Gear Up, I think it was at the beginning of this weekend, that it is easy to fall into the trap of niggling or being negative, you know. And I think it's a sign of class that these two didn't fall into that trap as much as press, maybe some people around wanted it to happen because it's more exciting if they hate each other. Some riders need that. Those two didn't, and I think it's great. I would guess, this is only a personal opinion, I guess that it's a lot of Pecco's doing, because I imagine if you poked Jorge, he would bite back. Pecco hasn't been poking him, and Pecco is just like leading the way in that how to act when it is, you know, it comes to be a world champion. And so I think Pecco can take quite a bit of that credit, but both of them for handling the situation like they did. I think it's an amazing thing to ride at that level with so much stake and not get to the point where you hate the other person, which is so common with other riders.
Yeah, it's so difficult when you're fighting over such an enormous prize, the biggest prize in our sport, to try and stay friends with the immediate competition, but they have both done that this year. Pecco Bagnaia did what he had to do today, an 11th Sunday win of the season. We can hear from the Barcelona Grand Prix winner now. He's waiting to speak to Matt Butt.
Yeah, Pecco, we knew you would go down fighting to hold on to that World Championship. You came in knowing only a double win would give you any chance of retaining the #1 plate. You did do the double victory, but ultimately just coming up so short, so near, so far. What are your overriding emotions right now, Pecco?
Normal, honestly. I already accept that after my sprint race in Malaysia. I understood that was tough and difficult to win the championship for another mistake. So I just tried to do the maximum, win all the 3 races, and wasn't enough because Jorge this season learned that sometimes it's better to be patient and finish second than winning. So he did a fantastic job. He deserving the title, and from our side we couldn't do anything better because we won. I think if you mix all the other riders and didn't arrive to my victories this season, so we can be very satisfied, very happy. But for next year we have to improve in some areas. I have to understand better maybe some situation because I've been taken out 3 times by other riders. I had an issue with a bike, then I crashed 4 times for very small things. So I have to improve, and I will try to do it for next year. But I'm a rider that never give up, so sometimes it's better to think more and maybe finish in 5th, 4th, then crash, and it's something that I will learn.
Amazing, really, as you just mentioned, to think that you've won 18 races this year and you've still not won the World Championship. I'm sure there's
a record.
There's a lot of mixed emotions right now, a lot of disappointment that you've lost the #1 plate, but you can take so much pride in the way you've raced this year. As you mentioned, those 18 victories. I mean, I guess it's difficult at the moment, but on reflection, there's going to be a lot of positives that you can take from this season and help you in that learning process.
Yeah, absolutely. We know was a championship done by of 2 sides, I think. Strongness and consistency. Jorge was the consistency, we were the strongness. We completely dominate everything, and wasn't enough because Jorge did like 18 or 17 second positions, and they did like 2. So this is something that I have to learn, and I will study.
I know that you're such a class rider, but most importantly, a class person as well. This battle between the 2 of you has been conducted with the utmost respect, great sportsmanship between the 2 of you. And Jorge go back a long way, of course, all the way back to Moto3. You've been in this position like he's experiencing right now, so I know you'd like to, so I'm sure, say a few words about Jorge and the job he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. He deserved everything about what he did he achieved this season. I think if someone else apart me to have to win the championship, I think I could be. I'm happy that he won this title because I think he's deserving it. He's a great guy with a great family. I think we know each other very well, so they deserve the title. They did a very, very fantastic season. Jorge was very constant, understanding the situation, was better in some areas than me, so fully respect because it was a fair battle and was great.
You've just said he's a great guy. Pecco, you're a great guy. You've been a great MotoGP world champion. I'm sure in the future you're going to be a great world champion once again. Thank you, Pecco.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to both Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin for the entertainment they've given us this season. he might not be the reigning MotoGP world champion anymore, but he remains an incredible ambassador for our sport. Great words there about Jorge Martin, and how will he reflect on his 2024 season, Simon? Of course, a lot of pride, a lot of victories, not the ultimate prize that he was looking for. Would the one shortcoming, I guess the one area that he needs to improve for next season, be sprints?
Well, yes. The thing is, his way of working was slower. You know, he did his homework for the Sunday, and in doing that, he often wasn't quite ready for the sprint, and then he was ready for the Sunday. But when he realised he had to turn things around at the end of the season, he changed that. So to me, he's already changed that. He came out and he's got pole positions, the last two, and which was not so, I mean, he got a lot of poles, but he came out pole position and then was ready to win the sprint the last 2 weekends. And then, yeah, then he's there for the Sunday. So I think he's already fixed it. As he said, he's got to make less mistakes and settle, like Jorge did, for a second or a third. Basically, it's like riding in the rain. You've got to ride how you feel rather than worry about attacking that other person. And it's not always easy to do. That's probably the most simple way to explain it. That'd be it, because the guy otherwise, he's so fast. I think he's underrated a lot of the time. He's above the level that the general public and press and stuff rate him at. He's super fast. And that is going to be, for example, one thing that'll be hard for Marc Marquez, even on the same machine, to beat is the speed of Pecco. And so qualifying positions, etc. So the guy, I'm glad Matt said it, he's a great guy. You said it, ambassador of our sport, fantastic. His mum and dad can be proud, the village, and he can be proud of how he is. And I'm sure he's going to be fighting for next year's World Championship.
Yeah, I guess it's asking a lot of any rider, no matter how good you are, when we have a season essentially of 40 races, if you combine races and sprints, to not have some mistakes sprinkled in there at some stage. But have we seen from Pecco Bagnaia this season that whilst those mistakes were there, his peak level is actually higher than it was last season? At his best, we are seeing the best version of Pecco Bagnaia.
I think you're right. He, again, the way he's worked recently is phenomenal. You know, like basically in Sepang, the speed he did, you know, Jorge would really, I rated as the fastest rider in the world. Pecco is absolute class, technical, and normally gets it across the line and wins the World Championship. But he's even stepped his game up. Maybe Jorge's pushed it there, and he came out and beat Jorge in that proper head-to-head battle for the fastest lap. And that's another thought. Yeah. Another one of his losers during his championship, but there was quite a few. So I think Pecco, he doesn't need to change too much. I think he's more or less there now, ready for the next season.
Of course, a huge challenge for him next season, not just to beat Jorge Martin to try and regain his World Championship, but of course Marc Marquez joining him in that factory Ducati team. How good did he ride today? Because of course he's flagged it up through the weekend that this is not one of his strongest circuits. He says he was in a battle against the circuit through much of yesterday. He finished the sprint in 7th, and he said even without that contact with Pedro Acosta on the first lap, it would have only been 6th. We're going to hear, I guess, from him shortly where he might answer the question, but how has he taken that step today to go up into 2nd, and is that a result that exceeded your expectations of Marc going into today?
Oh, he regularly does. It was a ride and a half. Look, you don't have to like Marc, and I don't like, I've said it before, all his actions, like maybe Pedro in yesterday's sprint or Joan Mir this morning. I'm sure he's going to be visiting me next year a few times. He traditionally is, you know, upstairs regularly. But when he comes out to race, like, he's phenomenal. Like, the ride he did today was really impressive again. Look, the thing that I've got to say to the people that, Simon, you're ranting about Marc again, who don't like Marc, you know, I've got to say, there was 20 podiums. I don't like statistics in general, but you've got to hear this one. There was 20 podiums won by 22, won by the GP23s this year. There's 4 riders, his brother, Bez, DG, and Marc. Out of those 22 podiums that a GP23 has got, Marc took 20. The guy is amazing when it comes down to race day. So, and there's nothing anyone can say to take that away. It's phenomenal. What he did today, making up for the, I guess, 3/10 a lap in a race that the GP24 can pull down those straights. You know, a couple of big straights, 1.5 on each or 2 and 1 on the other. And he just battled, concentrated, made up for that, and still managed the tyre. He's going to be a big danger to everyone on the best bike next year.
He spoke a lot coming into this year about getting the enjoyment back for racing again. Of course, he'd lost a lot of that through the latter years of his Honda spell, not helped, of course, by the career-threatening injuries that he suffered. He's clearly got that enjoyment back this year. He's got that taste of winning again. Enjoyment isn't what he's going to be here for next year, though, is it? It's going to be a different step altogether. Now he's in the factory Ducati team. We're going to go back to the Marc Marquez that we've known for so many years, who wants victories and nothing else.
Yes, yes. I think that I don't think he wants to lose the enjoyment. He knows that it's an important part of it because it's how you keep the longevity of your career. You know, if you're not enjoying it. So I think he'll want to enjoy it, but enjoying it will be winning. Yep. So it's going to be a hard fight between Pecco and him, for sure. It's going to be a tough one for the team to manage. And like I said, the pure speed, I think, is on Pecco's side. It's going to be very interesting to watch. But experience, tyre management, and pure gritty getting the result from no matter what position on the grid, Marc is super dangerous, like I said, for the championship next year.
Second place today secures him third place in the World Championship for 2024. Marc Marquez is talking to Matt.
Yeah, Marc Marquez does take third place in the World Championship, second here today in Barcelona. Marc, you came into this first season with Gresini Ducati, looking to enjoy racing again, looking to fight for the podium again today. You finished the season on the podium, and the smile has been back in 2024 as well.
Yeah, of course, it's the best way to say thanks to Gresini. I mean, of course, I tried my best all the time, but I mean, I say already one time, but they become a super important team in my career because I arrived in a very deep moment, and yeah, it was super important. The move I did last year, thanks to Honda to understand my situation, thanks to Gresini to give me the opportunity, and all this season I keep working. I found a very nice group where it helps me a lot to reborn, to rebuild that confidence, and yeah, the best way is that podium, best way to say thanks, that podium. Third place in the championship, for me, was not changing my life, but for a satellite team, I asked yesterday to Massini, say, for a satellite team, is it important finish third? Say, maybe we get some bonus. So, okay, I understand. And then I tried to be super precise today to finish the race in the podium.
Marc, second place is a great leaving present for Gresini Racing. Could it have been one better? Was there a time in that race where you thought you might be able to attack Pecco and win the race?
Yeah, in one part of the race I thought maybe it's possible. But then, honestly speaking, every time when I was close to Pecco, I never found a clear place to overtake him. Because on the break points I arrived too far, and I was catching him a lot on left turns, turn 5, 7, but unlucky were only 2 turns. He was doing very well turn 10, so yeah, he's there where I was thinking, but then on the last laps with the used tire, he was smooth, and I was struggling a bit too much, and then time to use the mine.
You know how Jorge Martin is feeling right now. You've won plenty of MotoGP World Championships, but the first one is always something that little bit special. So he's put together a fantastic season. It's been a great battle between him and Pecco throughout. So what have you made of Jorge and him being world champion this year?
Yeah, today is the day of Jorge. Today is the day of Jorge Martin. It's the day of the champion, and he deserves. He was super fast, consistent, managed the situations, managed the advantage in the end of the championship. So congrats to Jorge, congrats to his family, his team, and yeah, he must enjoy it because the first one is the best one. The first one is the most special.
And just finally, Mark, you said 2024 was all about rebuilding the confidence, preparing for what might come in 2025. He's got the #1 plate, Jorge Martin. Do you feel now ready to fight for that 9th World Championship in 25?
Yeah, of course, 2025 we move to the official team, so means different pressure. I mean, of course, when you're in official team, you must to fight for that top 3 every race. You must to fight if you can for the championship. So we will try. We will try to do our best. We know that we will have a very strong Pecco, a very strong opponent inside the garage that will be the main reference. But we will try to do our best. And first approach is try to adapt to the new people, to the new team, and that we have the precision for that. And of course, understand also the new bike.
Mark, it's been spectacular once again to watch you fighting at the front in MotoGP. Congratulations on returning to winning ways. We look forward to that battle in 2025. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, what a season Marc Marquez has put together. He will, though, want much more than just 3rd in the World Championship next season. He'll be going for that 9th world title. If you want to hear Jorge Martin, so are a lot of the world's broadcasters. You will hear from him on MotoGP.com later on. There will also be a press conference with Jorge Martin exclusively following the press conference with our top 2 race finishers today. So if you're with us live, make sure you stay with us. You will hear from the new world champion in due course. Let's talk about some of the other riders who certainly deserve a mention out of that Grand Prix today. Alex Marquez, in the end, coming through to beat Louis Suddaby in that battle. They had a battle in the sprint yesterday as well. Alex Marquez, of course, will, I guess, be expected to pick up a lot of the slack for Gresini next year, with Fermin Aldeguer joining him as a teammate. It's not always been the best of seasons for Alex Marquez. It's been a season of highs and lows, but a lot of highs at the end of it. He's finished strong.
He has. In 2 circuits, he's gone really well. It has been the last 2. He's always, well, traditionally good in Sepang, and he was. And here, I think he did a great job. Thing is, the GP23 has not been easy. No, really quite difficult because, just to quickly explain, you've got a machine that was born, as Michele Pirro, the test rider for Ducati, said, born with the rear tyre previous to this one that had less grip, and it has more grip, mechanical grip, and they've added this new rear tyre that has just made it push the front, and all of the riders on that machine have struggled because of it. Marc's clearly managed it the best, but he had a lot of crashes and a long time to figure it out beginning of the season, and he admitted that. It's so his brother has had to go through the same thing, and he's figuring it out. I believe that Alex will be back to his old level. So will some others that get on this GP24 or 5. Basically, it's been a tough year for riders on the GP23 because of that rear tyre, and Alex is one of them. I think I really believe he'll step up a notch more consistently next season.
Yeah, of course, Marc Marquez, of course, didn't have the experience of going from 22 to 23, did he? He came from a Honda to the GP23, so perhaps he found that adaptation a little bit easier. But either way, Alex Marquez did end the season strong. Louis Suddaby ended his MotoGP full-time career strong. He was in tears before the race even began. We saw him on screen just after the Valencia anthem was played poignantly on the grid as we raced for Valencia this weekend. He was already struggling to keep his emotions under the surface. I guess a circuit that helped him this weekend. He's always gone well at his home Grand Prix. Very nearly put it on pole position. But Louis Suddaby can be proud of how he's brought the curtain down on his full-time MotoGP career.
I think he really can be, you know. Louis, I've got to describe him as a saying from where I come from, is Marmite. You either love it or you hate it, you know. And Louis, I've noticed with the fans, is like that. It's one or the other. And no matter whether you like him or not, he did himself proud again. You know, he really has over the last couple of years. This has been quite a tough one, but for Aprilia in general, not just Louis. But what he's done in his career, I think, he's outperformed pretty much anyone's expectations, including Aprilia, who hire him. He did some amazing stuff when they really didn't expect it, you know. And I'm talking even wins. And now, on his last day on the bike as a full-time rider, he turns up and puts sort of performance in when he doesn't really have to. Yeah, he can walk away proud.
There were a few issues to be decided today on this final weekend of the season. Of course, the World Championship, which goes to Jorge Martin. Third in the World Championship went to Marc Marquez at the expense of Enea Bastianini, who didn't have a particularly strong Sunday in the end. There was also the battle to see who would be the best of the rest, fifth in the World Championship, but it was an all KTM battle, an all Pure Mobility Group battle. It went down to the very last lap in the end. With 1 lap to go, it was Pedro Acosta who was going to finish fifth in the World Championship. He was overtaken by Marco Bezzecchi on the final lap. Brad Binder overtook Enea Bastianini on the final lap, and that earned him fifth place in the World Championship. He came from 18th on the grid today to finish sixth. What a ride from the South Africa.
Yeah, it's the ride that we have grown to expect from Brad, and it's been missing a little bit this year. I don't think through a lack of effort, just lack of front feel. There's something been missing. All of the KTM riders have been having either chatter from Jack, or all of them lack of front feel and going down unexpectedly. And it's so glad to see them try a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel this weekend and be able to come out and fight, and like we know Brad can. Look, I believe that if KTM can figure out this next step, they have the riders that can get them the results. That I really do believe. They've got another 2 coming in Enea Bastianini and Maverick Vinales to add to Pedro Acosta, who I think is one of the future of our sport, if not the future, and Brad, who's a proper fighter like we saw today, and that level will be up if the bike's level is up. And yeah, one more thing to throw in is that with KTM's progress, they are going to need to make some progress if they're going to keep hold of valuable jewels like I think Pedro Acosta will be.
2 things just to go through then before we go. The riders are about to enter the room for the press conference, so very quickly, Tuesday test coming up, the countdown to 2025 begins. Simon's staying with us, so you'll have one more day of Simon with us on the broadcast. If there's one thing in particular that you're looking forward to seeing on Tuesday, what would it be?
You know what? It's I've given up hoping, you know, for example, a different firing order for the Honda that's going to... So really, it's just simply going down there and looking for progress, you know, seeing something change, and when they get on it, looking at the times and seeing if someone's made a step forward, because that's really what it's all about. It could be something invisible that has helped with rear grip, etc., or it could be something massive. Look, something to keep an eye out of when I say something massive is aerodynamics on the new GP25 apparently is very different. I hope they have it out on Tuesday.
Well, we thought we might miss it, but we do have a bonus interview coming up. The best interview, of course. The world champion is ready to speak to us. Jorge Martin's with Matt.
Yeah, I'm so happy, so proud to say this. Jorge Martin, 2024 MotoGP world champion. Jorge, I guess it's going to take a few days, a few weeks maybe for it to sink in, but the dream has finally come true. Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so good. You know, this is so emotional. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I shout. I don't know what to say. I'm really speechless. I'm really looking forward to put my name on that trophy, MotoGP trophy, because it's been a while looking at it, trying to be there. A lot of years of sacrifice. My family did a lot. And yeah, actually the last 7 laps were quite tough. I didn't look to the pit board till the end. I just was focused on riding, trying to enjoy. And I did it. I enjoy in these tense moments. And thanks to my team, because they fight for all these 4 years. Thanks to all the people throughout my career, but also thanks to Ducati. Because I know that we finally didn't make an agreement for the future, but they gave me the opportunity to jump in MotoGP. They gave me the opportunity to have always a factory and amazing bike. And thanks to their bike, and thanks to our work, I'm a world champion in a satellite team. So I'm only can say thanks to Ducati and to Pramac and to my family.
The first world champion in a satellite team, independent team in modern 4-stroke MotoGP history. They're just the 3rd Ducati rider to win the MotoGP World Championship. Let's go back though to the start of the day, Jorge, pre-race. How were you feeling? A bit nervous, I'm sure, when you know what was at stake.
I mean, I was nervous. I was a bit emotional, just listening to the music, trying to warm up. But I was speaking to my family, and could you imagine that we will be here with this big opportunity. I was more like illusionated, is the word? Or
Yeah, like hallucinating, yeah.
I was really more illusionated about that I could win, that the fear of losing. I mean, losing, I lost last season and I'm still here, so nothing happens. So I was really wanting to win for my team, more for the people than for me, because for me it wouldn't change anything, but for the people it's a big change.
What was it like? I'm sure that last lap, it was the longest 4.6 kilometres of your life, I'm sure, but over the line, when you came out of that final corner, you smashed the screen, just as you told us you would do. The trademark celebration now. When you crossed the line, Jorge, just that release, that explosion of emotion, I mean, how do you describe that?
At that moment, I just cried a lot, but the thing was 7 laps to go. 7 laps to go, I started to think a lot. I saw on the screen my family, my dad and my mom, my girlfriend, so I started to remember all the moments. I started to remember, you know, the pasta that my mom was cooking when I was in the pocket bikes and the karting. So it was like all my life going through my lens, let's say. And then, thanks to the work that I did this season, I was able to refocus quite fast and be on the present. Okay, nothing is done yet. You need to finish the job, so keep focus. And I was really enjoying the moment.
What's been the key? What would you point to one thing that has won you this championship?
I think the key was to live the present. The key was to improve from the past. Don't be there like, what I could have done or this or the other. Was improve from the past, don't do the same mistakes. And the future, you never know, so live the present, do your 100%, and I think this was the key.
Is the #1 plate going to Aprilia?
Let's see. What do you think?
I think so.
Really looking forward to my new chapter in my life. But today is today. As I told you, I will live the present, and the present needs to celebrate.
Jorge, enjoy that very special moment when you get to put your name on the top of that Tower of Champions. A moment you'll never forget.
4 hours left.
I've got one thing left to say. Congratulations, MotoGP World Champion. Hasta la vista, baby.
Thank you. Hasta la vista.
And congratulations to Jorge Martin, your 2024 MotoGP World Champion. The applause you heard in the background is our race winner today, Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez entering the press conference room. So we'll wrap up and throw over to them. Finally, though, before we go, it's the last time that we'll be sharing the After the Flag set with you. Simon, a huge thank you for all your company. A huge thank you for the insights, for the food recommendations and the company and the laughs over the last few years. He'll still be with us, though, for the test on Tuesday. So if you're joining us on Tuesday, we'll have all the analysis, all the live coverage of the Valencia test. My thanks to all of you for watching. My thanks to Simon for the company over the last few years. And my thanks to Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia for putting on such an incredible 2024 season. Jorge Martin is your world champion. Stick around for the press conference. That's coming up next. But from the two of us, it's thank you and goodbye.